Hey everyone, how you doing? I'm Fuzz, and today I've got another installment of iconic years in film. This time brought to us by the year 1987. I want to give a big shout out to a great friend of the channel, Lewis 1987, for basically giving me the idea for this topic today. Right, Lewis had requested that I do an episode on the year 1987, do a top 10 list for that year, and of course I aim to please. So here we are. And so I started looking at it and seeing which movies came out that year. And the more I looked at it, the more I was like, damn, what an incredible year 1987 actually turned out to be for movies. We did indeed see a number of movies that could be considered iconic films released that year. So today, as I always do with this series, I've narrowed it down a little bit to a list of 10 killer movies that I think really represent the best of what 1987 had to offer in the annals of film history. So let's just get right into it and rock this. All right, so let's get this party started here. Right into it. With my number 10, we've got Wall Street, Michael Douglas, directed by Oliver Stone. This movie rocks. I have a lot of nostalgia for this movie. I've always loved it. I mean, I remember watching it back in the day in the late 80s. I don't know if I saw it when it first came out, but I did see it within a few years of it coming out. And it made an impression, right? I mean, you got to love Michael Douglas as Gordon Gekko, right? Greed is good. I mean, there's just a certain amount of gravitas that he has there and boldness that you just can't go wrong with. And the rest of the cast is great too, right? I mean, you got Charlie Sheen in there and Daryl Hannah, Martin Sheen. I always like the scene where Charlie Sheen and Daryl Hannah are decorating their apartment, right? And you got the little Talking Heads song playing in the background. I love that, right? I don't know. It's just something about the vibe. And I mean, that's not the only thing I love about the film. The whole thing is just kind of oozing with cool and badassery, if you ask me. And I think Oliver Stone is a great director. You know, his films always have a little bit of an edge to them, even when he's doing something more conventional, you know, like a financial film like this, right? It's still cool. And it's still got this edge to it that I love. Now, I do think we need to get this bad boy on 4K. I mean, I would love to have it on 4K. All I have is this like double feature Blu-ray with the original film and then the sequel that they did, 30 years later or whatever. But yeah, awesome film. For my number 10, Wall Street. All right, and then next up for my number 9, we've got a little John Carpenter action here. Got Prince of Darkness, which I recently also finally ordered the steelbook for it, the Scream Factory steelbook, that nice green steelbook. I love, you know, I'm a big fan of the color green. So anytime it shows up in artwork and films that I love, I always feel compelled to acquire it. But anyway, but this is something, this was something I'd had planned for a while, and I've been kind of sitting on it for a while. But the artwork's incredible on the steelbook, so I had to get it. Just love the artwork. But beyond that, this is such a great film. I love this. It's definitely a top tier John Carpenter film for me, or at least pretty damn close to top tier, if not in the top tier, you know, depending on how we define that. But I love it. This film's amazing, right? It's definitely, it's got some genuinely unsettling moments in the film. Right, the transmission dream sequences have always creeped me out, and still do to this day. Whenever I watch it, I still get chills, and I've said that before on the channel when this has come up. But yeah, love this film. You definitely cannot go wrong with Prince of Darkness. If you're a fan of John Carpenter and for some reason haven't seen this one, you owe it to yourself to pick it up. And the 4K looks amazing as well. So yeah, for my number 9, Prince of Darkness. All right, and moving right along here to my number 8, we've got a rare war movie making an appearance on this channel. I don't usually get into war movies too much, but this one I like, or at least part of it. Full Metal Jacket, Stanley Kubrick directing. I mean, I think it's fair to say this is a classic, right? You can't go wrong with this one. Well, all right, well, let's call it what it is, right? It really is that first hour or so of the film that makes the whole thing worthwhile, isn't it? Right. I mean, the second half of the film, you know, once they get out of boot camp and whatever, it's not as strong. Right. there is a notable decline in the quality of the film, I think. Well, I mean, the quality of the filmmaking is always good, but the story, it's just not as good after that, right? It's really that first hour or whatever, with all that Leonard action, or Private Pile, as he's also known. I mean, that's really where it's all at, right? That's where the impact of this film happened. That's where all the power from this film, the emotion and whatever, it all came from that, right? And I do think it makes it all worthwhile. I love that first half of the film where they're going through boot camp and all that. I think it's great stuff. So yeah, gotta love it, right? Just for that alone, if nothing else, right? But of course it's Kubrick. So I mean, the guy obviously knew what he was doing. He knew how to make a good movie. But I mean, he was still human, right? So I think it's fair to say that not every movie he made was perfect, right? And now and as far as Kubrick and me, I mean, like, there's a few of his films I like, but there's a lot of stuff he made that just doesn't really interest me, right? Just due to the subject matter. Maybe it's, a period film or whatever. I have 3 or 4 films of his that I dig. And beyond that, I'm not a huge Kubrick guy, but I do love Full Metal Jacket. So yeah, that's my number 8. All right, next up, we got a little Brian De Palma action here. And I'm talking about The Untouchables. Awesome film. You got to love The Untouchables. And I'm a big fan of Brian De Palma. I think he's a great director. And I mean, you can't go wrong with the cast in this either. Of course, you got Sean Connery in here. You got Kevin Costner. Well, I mean, to be fair, I'm kind of lukewarm on Kevin Costner, but I love Sean Connery, right? But yeah, this is a great film, Prohibition era. Robert De Niro as Al Capone is, that was a pretty great pick for that role, I think. Especially, you got to love his enthusiasms, right? That one scene where he lets you know how fond he is of baseball, and particularly the baseball bat as a creative tool to accomplish whatever his objectives are. But I do seem to remember this film making a bit of a splash when it came out. And, I used to watch this one all the time on cable TV. It was on replay all the time. And I'd land on it quite often. So it's another one of those nostalgia picks for me, right? In addition to just being a good film. So great looking 4K as well. You can't go wrong with The Untouchables for my number 7. By the way, if you're enjoying the content on this channel and you'd like to see more, do me a big favor and please subscribe to the channel. And if you do, don't forget to activate those notifications as well, so you can always be alerted when I'm posting videos that you might be interested in. Also, don't forget to like the video and maybe even leave a comment if you're feeling so inclined. YouTube really loves it when they see that kind of engagement on the channel, and it tends to boost the channel and the video a little bit more and give it a little bit better visibility, right? So thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. All right, and for my number 6 is a film that I was kind of a late bloomer on. Even though I get this nostalgic feeling when I watch it, it wasn't a film that I really got into that much in the 80s when it first came out, back in 87, right? I'm talking about The Lost Boys. I love this movie. But I don't think I saw it all the way through for the first time until, I don't know, probably 4 or 5 years ago, maybe 6 years ago, something like that. I was definitely a late bloomer on this. It's one of those films that, like, I knew a lot of people back in the day that liked this movie, but for whatever reason, I never got around to watching the whole thing, or at least not that I remembered. Right. I think I'd seen a few clips or whatever from it, from it playing on cable or whatever. But yeah, I was kind of a late bloomer on this one. But the funny thing is, I just love it. I mean, when I watch it now, I still get this kind of sense of nostalgia for the 80s, even though I hadn't been watching it for 40 years, like so many others out there have, right? So it's weird, I was a late bloomer on it, but I still get this kind of nostalgic feeling when I watch it, and I love it. A great cast, of course, Kiefer Sutherland in this, Jamie Gertz, Jason Patrick. This is, and the Coreys. The Coreys practically make this film, right? Corey Haim, Corey Feldman, their whole interaction, and that it's awesome stuff. And I think that's probably where a lot of the nostalgia comes from because the Coreys, they just kind of invoke nostalgia to begin with, just their presence, right? I mean, you can't help but feel a little nostalgic for the 80s when you watch something that they're in, right? Great stuff. So yeah, for my number 6, The Lost Boys. And then for my number 5, I've got another one that I was kind of a late bloomer on, if you can believe that, and that is RoboCop. I didn't see RoboCop for the first time until probably about 6 years ago, right? And I loved it. But the reason I had never watched it all those years was because I thought it was some dumb, cheesy kids movie. I had never looked into it to see what it actually was, right? All these years, you would think that I would have had watched it by now, prior to that, but no, I didn't just, someone, I was talking to a friend or something and he recommended it. He's like, I was like, are you serious? I thought that was just some dumb kids movie. It looked, I thought it was, some silly robot or something, right? And the guy was like, no, you should check this out. It's quite a bit more edgier than you're thinking it is. And that's when I realized it was a rated R movie, right? I looked into it a little bit more and then did, in fact, buy the Blu-ray and checked it out. And I loved it. Absolutely loved it. Paul Verhoeven is just such a great director. And his whole nature is kind of edgy, right? And kind of subversive a little bit and kind of satirical. And this just has so many great moments in it. So, but the fact that I don't have like some personal nostalgia from watching it for 40 years, that's probably why I didn't rank it a little bit higher on this list today, right? So if you're wondering, if you think, damn, RoboCop should be up at the top or something, I was like, well, maybe so. But, I don't have that personal connection to it that some of you might have after having watched it for so many years. But I absolutely love it. It's on my list. So yeah, RoboCop for my number 5. All right, and moving right along to my number 4 here, we've got Beverly Hills Cop 2, directed by the late, great Tony Scott. I'm actually a bigger fan of this film than I am the first film. I mean, I love the first film too, right? But this one, I think everything got kind of amped up a notch, and a lot of that I credit to Tony Scott, right? I feel like he gave this movie a little bit more edge and style than quite a bit more style than the first movie had, right? I really do. I mean, Martin Brest did a decent job with the first film, and the first film did have its edgy moments as well, right? But there's just something about Tony Scott's like cutting edge style, right? It just felt like everything was made bigger and better with this sequel here, right? And I think, as Tony Scott himself might be inclined to have put it, if he were still with us, this one was just a little bit more rock and roll than the first Beverly Hills Cop movie. But I love them both, right? I really do. So, but I had to put this one on the list because I'm a huge Tony Scott fan, and I have some good memories watching this one. This is the one I also used to watch more than the first film. I mean, they used to both play on cable, quite a bit, and I think even the third one at one point, but I don't care about that one so much. But the first two were really good, right? So anyway, yeah, for my number 4, Beverly Hills Cop 2. All right, top 3, got a little Arnold action here. You knew the Arnold films were coming. You had to know it. Running Man for my number 3. I love this one so much. I've got a lot of deep nostalgia for this film. Used to watch it all the time. This one's so much fun. Yeah, it's a little cheesy, but it's fun. And it's amusing. It's hilarious. Arnold and all his little one-liners and it's just great stuff. You can't go wrong with Richard Dawson from Family Feud as the corrupt game show host. I just love this movie, and it's one that I can rewatch quite a bit. I don't really get sick of it. In fact, I usually watch this probably about once a year, maybe once every couple of years, once a year, once every couple of years, something like that. But it is one I return to quite a bit. So for my number 3, The Running Man. And for my number 2, we've got a little bit more Arnold here. Predator, of course. I mean, you had to know Predator was going to be on this list, right? And ranked really quite high. For some of you, this might be number 1. It was a tough call. And when you see my number 1, you'll understand. But yeah, this one, I love this film. right? And super rewatchable. This is one I never get sick of. And it looks great in 4K too. I've got, of course, the whole Predator set here, but the film that gets the rewatch the most out of this set is the first one. You know, I don't watch the others nearly as much. But yeah, this is probably at least once a year watch for me that I watch Predator. Sometimes more. It is, it's a comfort movie. I love it. So yeah, for my number 2, Predator. All right, and then for my number 1, we've got Lethal Weapon. Yeah, absolute classic. Another iconic film like Predator, and like I think a couple of the others on this list that, I mean, depending on your perspective, but love Lethal Weapon, right? I mean, this is just an absolute classic. This is one I watch every year around Christmas time, and I've got the 4K chunky box here, a little chunk factor here, which I actually did I think I did a review on the channel of this whole thing if you want to look at it in more detail. But it's really cool set. And the 4K, I mean, was a significant improvement over Blu-ray. Definite improvement over Blu-ray. It's the best the movie's ever looked. And of course you get the unrated cut or director's cut. There's like a couple extra scenes in this that I don't think had been available on Blu-ray for a while or whatever. Anyway, it's a great release, great film, and you just can't go wrong with Mel Gibson and Danny Glover. Classic pairing, the ultimate buddy cop movie, Lethal Weapon, for my number 1. Okay, so that wraps it up for my main list, but I do have a few honorable mentions here to breeze through real quick. I'm not going to spend much time on these at all. First up, my first honorable mention, back into horror a little bit here, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors, which is, well, next to the original, my second favorite Nightmare on Elm Street flick. The original's my favorite, obviously. That one's, I think, the best one. But next to that, Dream Warriors is pretty damn good. I love the third one, and it's one I do have some nostalgia for from back in the day. Even though I wasn't as big of a horror fan back then, I didn't really get into horror until a little bit later on in life, at least as a regular thing. But Dream Warriors was one of the exceptions. It was one of the movies that I enjoyed even back then. So yeah, you can't go wrong with Dream Warriors. Let's see what else we got here. Extreme Prejudice. Walter Hill film with Nick Nolte and Powers Booth. Great film. Now, I seem to remember hearing that this is either coming to 4K or it got a 4K release. I'm sorry, I didn't think to look it up on Amazon here before making this video. So it may already be out, and I just am not aware of it because I haven't been paying attention, but it may not have come out yet. I think it might be coming to 4K if it hasn't already come out. And, I may be upgrading that one. I do like Walter Hill. It's kind of like a modern Western in a way, right? Or at least modern as of when this film was made. So solid film. Extreme Prejudice. What else we got here? Near Dark. Love Near Dark. Great vampire flick, or kind of a different take on the whole vampire genre. I've got this German Blu-ray here, and I don't know what's available out there right now. I bought this, I think, 4 or 5 years ago. I can't remember, something like that. But we're supposed to be getting a 4K. We have heard that there's supposed to be a 4K coming for this movie, and it really does need one, because I'm not even that happy with this German Blu-ray that I have, which was I don't know if you want to check it out, if you can see that. But it's the audio's not that great, and there's not any English subtitles to compensate for it, right? So it definitely needs a 4K release. We've been hearing for years that this was apparently going to happen, but who knows when. So, but when it comes to 4K, I'll be all over it on day one for sure. So yeah, Near Dark. And one other thing I always like to mention about Near Dark, it's got a number of people from Aliens in it. Vasquez from Aliens is in it. Lance Hendrickson. Lance Hendrickson is one of the key lead characters. Bill Paxton in this, and he's awesome. He's finger licking good. But I think there's probably a couple other people. Anyway, directed by Catherine Bigelow, who also directed Point Break. So yeah, Near Dark, great stuff. And then this last one is one that it's not the kind of movie I would normally talk about a whole lot on the channel, but it does have a lot of 80s nostalgia attached to it. And at the time, I have to admit, I did like it when it first came out. Dirty Dancing. Now, the only reason I even own this one is I bought it for my wife. You know, I mean, I figured, you know, she definitely wanted it. And I was like, yeah, it'd be good to have that one in our collection. And we did watch it together. It was kind of fun. I hadn't seen it since the 80s when we picked up this 4K. So at least the 4K is kind of cool. I mean, you got that cool slipcover with some spot gloss there. Actually looks pretty cool. Can you see I'm trying to get the reflection on it just right. There it is. Yeah. But it's kind of a classic, right? I mean, of course, the soundtrack was huge at the time. I mean, a bunch of hits from that. And yeah, I mean, this movie made a huge splash when it came out. So I figured some of you might want to, you know, revisit this one at some point. But it's not the kind of movie I'd normally talk about a whole lot on this channel. And that's why it wasn't included in the top 10. But it's still Dirty Dancing, right? Still, I think, could be considered kind of a classic and if not even iconic, right? So had to mention it. Yeah, so that's it for my honorable mentions. Okay, so that about wraps it up for my top 10 movies from 1987, this latest edition of Iconic Years in Film. Let me know what you think of my choices in the comments below, and what are some of your favorite movies from 1987. I always love chatting with you guys and interacting with you in the comments, so make sure you leave me some feedback down below. Also, don't forget to like the video and subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Thanks so much for watching today, guys. I really appreciate your support, and I'll see you soon.